Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello, and good morning, and happy Monday, and happy, what the heck is it? It's the 6th of Janvier. And here I am with you on what's supposed to get to be a very cold day before it's all over. But I can't help but feel that there's a little bit of hysterical hype about the whole thing. It's going to get cold for about 36 hours. I mean, really cold. So bundle up. That's all. I mean, even you could see the game in Green Bay that everybody was freaking out about. That wasn't that cold. It wasn't that cold. It was 5 degrees when the game started. No, even Jess says, not that bad. Exactly right. Not that bad. So it did. I don't even think it made the top 10 of coldest NFL games. And so, you know, they're talking about weather, and then a game actually broke out. And it was interesting to see how the weather ceased being a topic of conversation because there was a pretty good game going on. Didn't like the outcome, but what difference does it make? So I think the same here. I mean, it annoys me. And I do think, and I have said this, and I mean it. Are schools closed today? Do you know?
I think
they are? Or
public schools are not.
Public schools are not, but some are. And tomorrow they will be, you can bet, because it'll be too cold in the morning or something. But, I mean, all of this, there are two things that can be blamed for what I think are, you know, our failure to sort of suck it up and deal with reality, the elements. And one would be, these are the two I'm always hearing about, the sort of wimpification of Americans. And I think that's obviously well cataloged. We are, by virtue of our wealth. We have gotten used to a comfortable kind of life that we take as the norm, and any deviation from that comfort. And when I talk about comfort, I mean, I know people, and I'm sure you do too, whose comfort level in terms of what they'll even tolerate for like temperature is somewhere between 60 and 85, right? And those are the folks who flee south. Those are the ones who run immediately. I'm always reminded of the fact that people lived here, right here on this ground, before there was electricity, before there was public transportation, before, I mean, they didn't have polar tech. They didn't have Uggs. Maybe they had something better. I don't know, but they had to go out and kill the animal first. People lived in this weather, in teepees and little shelters, and they survived. And I just wonder how soft we are. But I guess, again, it doesn't matter because we live in a different world in which being soft is okay because the physical challenges that we face are nowhere near as great as they used to be by virtue of technology, right? So, anyway, the other possibility of why we overreact so much is, and this is in terms of the schools, is I believe the threat of lawsuits. One little kid gets a frostbitten finger or something, and, a school district can get sued for a lot of money, I suppose. I don't know. That particular ethic did not exist way back when I was a youngster. And I know my mother shocked me, I think a few years ago, by telling me that even the Green Bay schools close now on, really, I mean, they obviously have a lower threshold than the Pittsburgh schools, but it's like if it were a high of 15 below. Even Green Bay schools now close sometimes, which they certainly didn't do when I was a kid. This is the equivalent. I walk 3 miles. Actually, I walked 3 blocks to school is what I did. But I think, isn't that about lawyers? It wasn't that people in the 50s and 60s didn't love their children as much or worry about their welfare. I think it was that they were not made hysterical by television, news. That's my guess. In this regard, ignorance is bliss. I mean, we just went on, right? As did, I'm sure, you guys here. So it's just the wimpification of America. Definitely the wussification of America. So I looked up Google's an amazing thing. I looked up, how do I clean a cheese head? I did. And you know what? I was hardly the first person to ask. I have an extremely hideous-looking cheese head that is kept in my basement, and I thought I might take it out for the game yesterday, and just for the frivolity of it all. And I looked at it. It was so disgusting. I thought, maybe I should try to clean this thing. But you can't. It's just a big bunch of sponge. And, if you start rubbing on it, it just starts coming apart like a sponge does. So here I was directed to a place where 2 years ago Adam Ross had asked, hey, anyone know the best way to clean a cheese head? I've tried paper towels, magic eraser. It just tears tiny bits of foam off the hat. Suggestions, anyone? And this was voted the best answer. Make a thin paste with water and baking soda and rub with a damp, soft cloth, but not something that will tear apart like paper towels. Rinse gently and let air dry. It works. Well, as soon as it came to making a paste, I thought, screw it. My cheese head it's starting to look like, moldy cheese. It's got like a sort of a disgusting blackish, greenish film on it. And I'll just have a moldy cheese head, which is, I think, okay, because I'm not going to bother. Not going to bother. Bill Peduto gets sworn in 2 hours, I think. And they wisely moved the ceremonies indoors over to Heinz Hall because, come on. Potter, of all people, was talking about tradition on Friday. Well, I said, why don't they move it indoors? He said, oh, no, tradition. They've always had it on the... Well, screw tradition. If you can be comfortable, there's no reason why it has to be held on the steps. So that's, again, wimpification. I agree. But, move it indoors. So they did. And now everyone will feel free to talk even longer, and it'll be totally boring. I can't imagine anything more boring myself. I say that only because I didn't get one of the tickets. And I gave him money. How much did you have to give to get a ticket? Huh? I wonder. And I suspect at this moment Bruce Krause is being voted the city council president. I will be surprised if that is not the case. And our council will be sworn in. Okay, yeah, I'm just being told that the reorganization of council is the last order of business, so that has not happened yet. Well, I think it's just you and me today, guys, and I'm going to start it out nice and slow and easy, I think, because we've got a whole year ahead of us to gnash our teeth about things. It's been a sort of wonderful respite, has it not, with the president in Hawaii and all the Congress folk in their homes, and absolutely not much of any coverage of their lack of activity, and it just not hearing much about it has been a wonderful break for me, for one. But it is all about to start up again in earnest, and I don't know how I feel about that. So I'm just going to, again, just sort of dip my toe in and hope that, I don't know, we come up with something of interest. I'm quickly scrolling through Jared Day's news nuggets for today, and he does repeat the article that the New York Times had on how the president spends his holiday in Hawaii. And it's interesting in that he essentially does the exact same thing every year and sees the same people every year. And you know who he sees? This is interesting. He gets together the folks he can most just relax around and not be. It's not even the Chicago guys. You have to go before the Chicago guys. So he hangs with his buddies from high school. That's what he does. Those are his friends now. Now, only one of them still lives in Hawaii, but they all come with their spouses, and they talk, and they, do what you do when you get together with people who knew you way, way, way back when. And the sad thing, there's a nice thing about that kind of connection, but the sad thing is that it's a result of his not really knowing after a certain point in his life if people are befriending him because they genuinely like him or because he is who he is. These guys who befriended him when he was just Barry in high school, he is sure of. And, I mean, this is a problem, I guess, for all celebrities, famous people, too, that people want to be with them, to befriend them. And that can feel very unsatisfying, I'm sure, to the person who is being befriended. So the four guys that he was pals with, that he played basketball with, that he hung with, they're all in the group. And they've been doing this for years and years and years through divorces, sort of holding each other up. I think the only one who lives in Hawaii got caught in a sting a few years ago when he solicited a prostitute, and he got arrested. And, of course, that became big news because he was the president's friend and got a lot more attention than it otherwise would. And they said that Obama was particularly upset that that created more of a problem for his pal, that he had a friendship with the president, and consequently his arrest for solicitation of prostitution was like front page news in Hawaii for some time. So, I don't know. I'm glad at least he had a pretty relaxing vacation this time. There was no world news events that intruded, as they often do, shortening his vacation. If anyone needed a break, I think he did. He was not having a great year. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about, and again, I don't watch MSNBC anymore much. I think I've said that before. Because to me, it has become I just don't like these formats, you know. I don't like it. They used to be a little loosier-goosier, so they had some... I liked it better when they had an eclectic crowd on their air. And so you got differences of opinion. And obviously they made a business choice. Their business model was going to be to act as a very specific counter to Fox News. Fox News, of course, being unabashedly, despite its, fair and balanced moniker, unabashedly right-wing and a mouthpiece for the Republicans and conservatives especially, because they're actually one and the same. They didn't used to be all the time, but now they are. So MSNBC now, I just don't like it. I hate people who all agree with each other sitting around smarmily talking. Now, I guess that's what I do for a living, too. But it's like a busman's holiday then for me to watch it. I don't enjoy it much. So, all that is said because I want to say that I have not seen this woman's show, Harris Perry. Melissa Harris Perry. I think I do know who she is, extremely bright African-American woman who subbed a bit for Rachel Maddow at one point and showed she was up to the job. I believe she's a university professor, right? Is that true? At some fancy school like Princeton or something. I might be getting this wrong. And this has to do with, on her show, which I guess aired on last Sunday, she made fun, she with her panelists made fun of a picture. They had a picture of maybe it was their Christmas picture, I'm not sure, of Mitt Romney and his wife surrounded by their grandchildren, which constitutes a small town. I mean, it's just a gazillion little blonde, beautiful children. And two good-looking grandparents, too. So it's a picture of beautiful blonde people. Except in this picture, there was a little black baby. He looked to be the second youngest. There were like two babies in the picture. And there was a little black baby, and he was being held by Mitt Romney. And one of the panelists said the following as the picture went up. Why am I blanking on it? Why can't I see? Oh. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just isn't the same. Now, okay, the person who said that was trying to make a joke, right? And was talking like about those two pictures you see side to side. There's differences in these pictures. I think that's what the joke was supposed to be. But it is tasteless on its... I mean, I don't know how you say something like that. I really don't know how you say something like that. The point being, first of all, one of these things is referring to this child, who, of course, is not a thing. Even the worst use of the word thing is bothersome to me. But so the object was to what? Ridicule the Romney family for having a black grandchild, or I don't even understand it, if you want to know the truth. I didn't see the segment. Or were they trying to say that this is classic Republicans, I suppose? You got all these blondes, and then there's one out-of-place looking black kid. Good heavens. It's a baby. It's a baby who was adopted by one of his sons. And my guess is that the Romney who adopted this child didn't do it to add color to their Christmas photo. This is part and parcel of everybody simply losing their cotton-picking minds and not having any idea what's fair game and what isn't. And I know there's this big deal that when anybody on MSNBC says something offensive, they get canned, or although she has not, they are made to profusely apologize. When people on Fox News say these despicable things, they double down, or they stand their ground. I'm sick of the whole thing. And I'll have to tell you, all it did is make the Romneys look good. I'm sure that wasn't the intent. So Mitt Romney is on television Sunday, and he was able to look like a pretty nice, forgiving guy. And I'll suggest that he was... maybe he was sincere. I don't know. He, of course, appeared on Fox News. He, of course, was asked, because I'm sure the right-wingers have been making hay about this. He said, I recognize that people make mistakes, and the folks at MSNBC made a big mistake. They have apologized for it. That's all you can ask for. I'm going to move on from that. I'm sure they want to move on from it, too. Yeah. Well done. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, this is Clarence from Canonsburg.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see the picture.
Okay.
But when you said the song, one of these things is not like the other.
Yes.
That's from Sesame Street. You remember that?
Oh, is that? No, see, I'm too old for Sesame. Is that what it is, a Sesame
Street? Yeah, it's like,
Street?
one of these things is not like the other. Which one is different? Do you know? Can you tell me which thing is not like the other? Before I finish my song. And they would have like 4, 5, 6 things up there.
Yeah.
You have to point the thing out.
Okay.
Now,
so that's what it was. Okay.
Now, not having seen the picture, but you said Romney was holding the grandchild. Now, Mitt, if his son, if the kid was just around, you know what I mean? With the rest of the kids just in the picture by whoever adopted him, I definitely wouldn't have any problem with it. But to me, the fact that Mitt was holding the grandchild was Mitt was saying, hey, look at my black grandchild. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I have to admit, I wondered the same. And then I thought, well, this looks like the baby. And so maybe, and I think his wife is holding also a baby.
Holding another baby.
I think. And then there's a third baby being held by a girl who's a sister of the baby or something. But I think all the babies in the family are sort of front and center in that way. If I'm wrong, if somebody can find the picture, it could be that they always hold the baby.
It could be that. And here's because I am cynical about
I understand.
Mitt Romney.
Yes, of course,
I am because of how, when he ran the campaign, how he would just switch. Just he would be a different person to different people at different times,
right?
Just to make himself look good. And that's I haven't watched that woman's show. I haven't watched like you. I can't take shows that are just a bunch of people agreeing on stuff.
Yeah, it's like didn't we used to call that a circle jerk? No, not into it.
No. So, but yeah, I was thinking. I said, if I saw that picture, I might have made the same joke. But I'm not on television.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Yeah. And my cynicism with Romney. If it was Joe Schmo from Idaho, it wouldn't have made me any difference. It was the fact that what I know of Mitt himself would have made me cynical about the reasoning behind
Mitt holding the child.
Him holding the child, exactly.
Well, if I see that picture again, or if somebody can send it to me.
I'm looking for it.
Okay, I will. I think there were 3 infants. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
he has the black kid.
He has the black kid. He has 2 grandchildren on his lap. Yeah, it looks like the 2 babies on his lap. Well, there's another baby in the background held by
a mother, maybe.
No, it's probably another grandchild. These are all. This is Mitt.
Oh,
maybe it's a different picture.
Oh, that's right. It's all grandchildren. You're
all
right.
grandchildren.
They're none of his children. These are all his grandchildren.
Exactly.
And then there's another baby being held off to the right in the first row by a little girl.
Yeah, and there's one in the background too.
Okay.
They almost look like twins.
Okay,
but,
so
those 2, they're wearing the same dress. Maybe those are little sisters and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think that he's holding the two babies?
Yeah, he's holding the 2 youngest. It looks like, they don't look like the youngest. It looks like there's the 2 little girls are holding, which are probably, they could be their sisters or cousins or something like that. They look as young as the other baby.
Yes.
The other one looks probably like, months older. You know how babies are. You never can tell by size. So.
But you can't make that, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But that's all his grandchildren. Good God in heaven, that's a lot of Romneys. They got all sons, so those are all Romneys.
It's really funny. If my grandmother was in this would be her grandchildren.
Really? She's got that many?
My mother
too?
had 8 kids herself. So.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. That's pretty cool.
So I don't know. I'm sick of it. I think when you have this kind of television, this nasty kind of format that's getting increasingly nastier, I really think, of course there'll constantly be moments like this where people just say things that are, I'm sorry, if you were all together in someone's living room and, you could all maybe say these things and laugh, but it's just nobody knows where the lines are anymore, and it's off-putting. I don't want to watch anymore. That's the kind of thing.
I know. If it were, like I said before, if it wasn't for Facebook, if you wouldn't have mentioned this just now, I wouldn't have known anything about it.
Okay. Well, good. Good.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Facebook, I would have never heard about the Duck Dynasty controversy. Other people post them, and I know, here's a controversy here.
And it's just a way for everybody to keep in this sort of chronic state of pissed offedness.
I like that.
Right?
Everybody's always upset about something.
Gotta be.
Getting offended. Somebody one time said an offensive word to me, and I was with another guy, and I wasn't offended. And he was upset that I wasn't offended. I said, I'm not offended. He said, well, I would be offended. I'm like, so? I said, I'm not offended. I said, look at this guy. We were in a bar at noon having lunch. You know what I mean? I wasn't drinking. The guy I was with wasn't drinking, but there was a guy across the bar drinking at noon. He's drunk. He's out of shape. And he says the offensive word. And I said, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And he said, why aren't you offended? I'm like, look at this dude. Who is he? How can he? I mean, look at him. He's in the bar drunk in the middle of the day. He's pathetic. And he's going to say something to offend me? No. But the guy was upset that he couldn't understand why I wasn't offended. And I was offended by that.
Well, you're an odd case, I must say.
What's that?
You're an odd case.
You know what? And it took me a while to figure that out. I always thought everybody was like me. And I'm like, oh, I'm the freak.
Yeah, you are. You're the freak. But
on me.
Yeah, but if you
that very recently, oh, I'm a freak. I'm freaky. Not everybody's like this.
I'm beginning to completely understand the people who don't pay attention, you know, who go on with their lives and refuse to be sucked into the outrage du jour, you know, who don't know about them as you don't. Now you're walking a thin line of knowing a lot of this stuff, but still keeping relatively
like I said,
cool and
I have friends on Facebook who get into this stuff, and to me, things that should be offensive to people, or like homeless old people or something, that should offend the hell out of you in this cold weather. You should be pissed off and try to do something with the government or whoever, because this exists. This Romney crap is useless. Who cares?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Why waste the energy?
Right. Exactly.
There are just way more important things that you could be offended by.
Oh, God. But that's what media sees. That's what like an MSNBC and a Fox News now see, I think, as something that they're supposed to do. That they're looking for these fights to pick and these outrages to have.
Yeah, it's that us and them attitude.
Yeah, and
when I was talking about the offensive word to my other friend, I said I don't look at him. I said I see him as another human being who I don't know what happened to him, but he's upset and he got to this point where he blames black people. I said, but to me he's a human being. I would rather go talk to him and find out what happened to him. You know what I mean? And tell him, give him like a little pat on the back. Say, it's really not that bad, dude. Things are going to be all right. To me, he's a human being. I don't have an us and them attitude. I don't care what political party you belong to or your religious affiliation. You're a human being to me. And I think that's what gives me my attitude. You're just another human being.
All right. Stop trying to become the saint of the show.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah?
You were talking about Obama and his, being Obama. And, and still having his high school friends. Like, when you moved over here, you picked up, how do you distinguish who's like a friend or who just wants to hang around with Lynn Cullen, the radio celebrity?
Well, when I once told my brother that most of my friends here have been people I've met through my show, his reaction was, that's pathetic.
If I was your brother, that would have been like my reaction, by the way.
Well, but you're one of them.
Yeah, I know. But that's what made me curious about it. Made me curious about it. I'm like, yeah, how do you pick them?
I think I have very good taste.
Yeah, I think you do too. But you picked me, of course.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, God Almighty! All right, enough. I got to take a break.
Have a nice day and week and all that.
And year.
All right,
Bye, Clarence. It's good heavens. Half the show's gone already, and what have we accomplished? Let's get a break in.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
And Carson thinks he's just an ordinary guy. Then, strange things begin to happen, and he discovers his true identity. He's Awesome Man. Now, the fate of the planet Fatal is in his hands as he battles the likes of the evil Mr. Crouton. Luckily, Awesome Man has a vast array of superpowers, which enables him to get out of every jam. Once the people of planet Fatal are safe, Dan Carson reverts back to his everyday life. But if danger ever returns to Fatal, Awesome Man is sure to answer the call. Awesome Man is the brainchild of Dale Carter, a hometown boy living in Indianapolis. His love for superheroes inspired him to create the latest and greatest superhero on the scene today, Awesome Man. Get your copy today. Visit Amazing Books at 926 Liberty Avenue, downtown Pittsburgh, or call 412-471-1899. Go online to order at DuranceBookstore.com. All rights reserved. Copyright 2009 by Dale Carter. No part of this book may be reproduced or transmitted in any form by any means, electronic or mechanical, including photocopying, recording, or by any information storage and retrieval system with permission in writing from the publisher or author.
Download the brand new CP Haps app and find out what's going on in Pittsburgh. It's the fun and free app that puts the most popular events at your fingertips. Text events to 77948 to download now and register to win tickets to the Jay-Z Magna Carta World Tour coming to the Consol Energy Center January 21st. The CP Haps app brought to you by Pittsburgh City Paper.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Oh, boy, you guys. Okay. Okay, so that was an ad for a guy who's written is that a comic book or a, could you tell?
I couldn't
Is that
tell
it's
if it was
available?
a comic book
A graphic
sort of like,
novel?
Maybe.
Maybe we'll learn more. I hadn't heard that before. Awesome, man. Which leads me to this other thing there's a guy I know here, young man. He's young and hip, like 30-something, maybe even just 20-something. I don't know. He's so young, and he's so smart. And I actually do serve on one board with him where he is, clearly one of the more extraordinary members of the board. He, I can give his name. His name is Jacob Bacharach, and he works for the Cultural Trust, and he also, essentially, I think, sort of runs the Benedum Theater. And the neat thing about being me is that I get to meet, even though I'm old, I get to stay in touch with and get to meet a lot of young people who are doing amazing things. And I just, I thought he was impressive as hell, but then I get from him a little email in which he informs me that this book he's been writing, like I knew he wrote a book. I didn't know he was writing a book. He's so busy. Is getting rave reviews. And obviously, I've asked for a copy. It doesn't get published till the spring, but I'm giving you a heads up that this guy is going to be perhaps one of those Pittsburghers that we brag about, because he got a review from no less a tough critic than James Wolcott of Vanity Fair. Why am I having trouble picking this up? And if you read Vanity Fair, if you know, James Wolcott is getting a rave from him is serious stuff. Really serious stuff. And I'm trying to find it here. He essentially suggests this novel is set in Pittsburgh, and somebody else raving about it said that this does for Pittsburgh now what Michael Chabon did for Pittsburgh when he started his career with the mysteries of Pittsburgh. So it's called The Bend of the World, and keep your eyes open for it, because apparently this is quite a read. If I can find I want to read to you what Wolcott said, because it's unbelievable. Of course, I can't find it. Okay. Here it is. Mighty strange doings in the Pittsburgh of Jacob Bacharach's mind-tripping debut novel, The Bend of the World. A regular X-Files a go-go where Yeti, UFOs, rumors of orgiastic rites, intimations of Mayan apocalypse, and psychotemporal distortions add that extra zing to the bustling nightlife. The Bend of the World, in its biting, microcosmic portrait of our wackadoo republic, makes me proud and ashamed to be an American, but most of all happy to be a reader of Jacob Bacharach's Damn, is he sharp. James Wolcott. Vanity Fair. Whoa! Well, I thought he was sharp too, and I didn't even know he wrote a book. But just rave reviews. Here's another rave, an audacious, hilarious, and aptly surreal satire on the state of America in this new, uncanny century, well as a brilliant portrait of a new generation of fledgling adults. The bend of the world will talk to the generation now approaching 30 in the way that Michael Chabon's Mysteries of Pittsburgh spoke to my own 25-year-old self long ago. People are just Sam Lupsite. This is another biggie. Jacob Backrack has a great comic voice, shrewd, deadpan, and dirty. And the bend of the world fears no weirdness. This should do Pittsburgh proud. Those are all W.W. Norton, publisher. And so I think we're about to get introduced to, and I'll be happy to introduce you to him. I'm sure he'll be on the show. This is there's some young, wondrous people in this city, and I think I think we'll see more and more of them with the advent of the Peduto administration. Henry writes, Lynn, I was wondering about Green Bay's brown football field. I was too. It didn't look pretty, did it? Do they use that special grass that turns brown in the winter? Or was that... Yeah, no, it's grass. That was grass that turns brown in the winter. I guess I was sort of wondering why they didn't color the field green like most teams, or would that be a sin against the Packer gods? No, I remember it being green all the time, but they must have gone to that other... they're old school, so that's turf. And it must, turn brown. I noticed that during the Steeler game, when the Steelers went to Lambeau a few weeks ago. I thought, God, that looks awful. But there it was, yeah. I was stunned to learn that Green Bay's football stadium, Lambeau Field, is the third largest NFL stadium. I mean, it dwarfs Heinz Field. And that's bizarre if you think about it, since Green Bay now is a town of about 106,000 people. And the stadium holds almost a little over 80,000. So you could put almost every man, woman, and child in the city in the stadium, which I used to, when I was a kid, get nervous because I'd be at Lambeau Field on Sunday, which then I think held only about 55,000 or something. And the town was like 60,000. And I remember thinking, when you're young and you think a little in a somewhat of a strange manner, I remember thinking, if everyone's here, then like someone could take over the city. I thought we have a totally empty city because everyone in the city is here in the stadium. And you would think it would be a field day for burglars, and I never heard that was the case, that like there was an uptick in burglaries during a Packer game. But man, would that be it'd be an easy target. And I think it was maybe after that movie, The Russians Are Coming, because it was during the Cold War I had these thoughts. I thought, oh my God, we're all here and the Russians could take over Green Bay, come in through the harbor. Really, lay siege to the paper mills, take America down for lack of toilet paper. I don't know. Here is a piece of information that will blow your mind, or not. I told my son this, and he said, Mom, I told you that. I told you that years ago. You never listen to a thing I say. I said, I'm sorry, I really don't remember you telling me that piranha, the fish, the scariest fish in the world with those big teeth, that piranha are little timid sweeties. Did you know that? There's all those horror films. Fall into a tank of piranha and be ripped apart. Well, the guy who wrote the article I'm referencing now walked into a pond of piranha, and he said as soon as he got into the water, the piranha all ran to the other end, cowering. Whoa, who's that? What's that? It's not our idea of what piranha are. And it's always been the case. Piranha have one of those classic sort of bad PR. They are not fish who want to eat human beings. They are not fish who normally eat by swarming and, ripping flesh off anybody. But because of Hollywood films, because of ignorant statements like that of President Theodore Roosevelt in 1913, who on a South American expedition said the following: "The piranha, the most ferocious fish in the world." They're not. Their teeth are scary looking, seriously scary looking. But piranha themselves are actual sweeties. Yes, they are. And in fact, the way they do feed, they mainly feed by just lying around. And if a fish gets too close to them, they might sort of exert themselves and take a bite out of a fin, a passing fin. That's what they do. A passing fin, a few scales, makes them happy, no big deal. But they're generally not killers. And there are videos of them appearing to be killers, but those are invariably taken when you create a situation in which there are a lot of bloody, like when fishermen get back to the dock, and where they're cleaning their catch and maybe heaving the guts into the water. Then, yes, you might see a bunch of piranha going nuts because, why wouldn't you? That's no different than seeing the pigeons out here hanging outside the McDonald's. It's just an intelligent place to be. And everybody's got to eat. So if you have piranha phobia, that's one that you can shelve. They aren't interested in you. Believe me. Believe me. And all the incidents of people being wounded by piranha are anomalies. Not that it never has happened, but they're total anomalies. Seriously. All right? So get off the piranha's back. They can't help it if they have bad dentition. Why should we take what we consider beautiful teeth and put it on them? Our idea of beauty should not be imposed on a fish. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's time for a break. Time for a break. I'll be right back.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Happy New Year from the all-new BergBargains.com. Log on today for the best deals from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, and shows. Sign up for the weekly email update for your chance to win gift cards from Mad Mex, Sonoma, Kaya, Ceviche, Casbah, and NOLA. The all-new BergBargains.com. Pittsburgh's best bargains. BergBargains.com.
We will not be an easy target. We will never roll over and let pain plan our day. We will protect our bodies and fight back by moving. We will do our morning laps, walk our dogs around the block, pass up the elevator, and proudly take the stairs. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? To learn more, visit us at fightarthritispain.org. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Okay, so thank you for the geological stuff on shale, because I know that I'm more interested in the geology of, and maybe this is something you sent me. Potter and I were having this conversation. He blew my mind on Friday by telling me that the low hill, the worn down mountains, what I perceived were low down mountains around here, like Mount Washington. And, as you look out at the topography here, I thought those were worn down big old mountains. And Potter said, no, They were just flat. That was flat land. And it's the water, it's rivers and glaciers that carved out the... So we're living down in a hole that, he says. Anyway, I got a feeling that this is going to take me some time to figure all this out, right? So some are... I thought the Appalachians, I thought we were part of that Appalachian, but oh gosh, Guy, you sent me something this is going to take me a while. And there's some kind of a thing right near Green Bay. This always blew my mind. Right outside of Green Bay, you can be driving down this country road, and I've never been able to quite pinpoint it, but I've known many people who have, and they'll point to this hill, and they'll say, it's like that is the demarcation of, I think, where water flows either east or west in the U.S. Is that possible? Because it would seem to me like, obviously, the Rockies would do that too. But there's some kind of a place, a glaciated place, that, I don't know. Do you know what Pennsylvania's highest point is? Huh? It's even called Mount something. Huh? Okay, it's Mount Davis. I have no idea where that is. And it does say here, unlike the Appalachian Mountains, the streams of this area have... What? Hello? Is that a geology professor on the other end? No. Hello? Hello?
No, I'm not a geology professor, but those points are all over the place where things flow east or west. There's a place in...
Okay.
I don't know where it is, but I know there's a place in Pennsylvania where if you dump out a bucket of water, some of it goes into the Allegheny system and through the Mississippi, some goes east into the Chesapeake Bay, and some goes north into the Great Lakes. So,
okay, so that makes sense.
I think those are just continental divides.
Is that so? They're all called continental divides, and there's obviously more than one. Well, there's some.
They're still interesting.
Huh? Are you saying
that Mount Davis is kind of down by Ohio Pile?
Oh, well, that's that's the highest point in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, which is weird because Pennsylvania's highest point is not that high compared to either West Virginia or New York, I believe, and but it's quite a bit higher than Delaware's.
Yeah, so. Take that, Delaware.
Well, all right, that's all.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, because I'm just clueless. I have to read up on the how this whole area came to be. All right, so this is not a. I think of Pennsylvania with all those rolling hills, and you think we'd have some higher points. We don't have many high points. All right, never mind. I'll stop. I can tell I'm boring you. Here's an odd thing I found in the paper today, in the Wall Street Journal. If you want a taller population, you need more toilets. Good reaction, Jess. That's exactly my reaction. I thought, huh? What? Here it is. This comes from a study. You've got to love, it says, an entire session dubbed Toilet Papers and dedicated to the study of the effects of public sanitation on health, height, and other outcomes. Anyway, a Princeton University professor found that differences in height between children in India and children in Africa can be explained almost entirely by the unsanitary conditions in India. And here is the sentence that I don't quote, open defecation, which is exceptionally widespread in India, meaning they don't have any toilets, they just go when they gotta go. Open defecation can account for much of all the excess stunting of height in India. Yeah, Jess just said, stop it. What? And then that's it. The Wall Street Journal reports nothing else. How would that be true? Okay, if you poop in the woods, you got to be short? What do you mean? You grow up to be short?
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. How could there be? And they're so sure of it. It says, yes, the difference in height between children in Indian children in Africa is explained almost entirely by open defecation and unsanitary conditions. I can see unsanitary conditions playing in, but how does open defecation figure in there? I don't get it. The riddles we face. Here's something about a piranha attack. All right, okay. There are. I mean, they exist. Charles writes, piranha attack. As 70 Christmas Day bathers are savaged. The truth about the fish with a bite more powerful than a T-Rex. Among revelers cooling off in the 100-degree heat were 20 children who were injured in the frenzied attack. Yes, I think this is why this story debunking this popped up. In fact, the injuries there, well, here's what this article says. For residents of the central Argentine city of Rosario, the festive season most certainly does not involve eating mince pies and drinking eggnog. Instead, with the mercury hitting a sticky 100 degrees, most are keener to cool off than to gorge themselves. The best place for this is the city's sandy beach on South America's second largest river. With bars, restaurants, and fairs, the beach is a major attraction. And last Wednesday was no exception. Tens of thousands had gathered to enjoy the holiday. Many took the opportunity to swim in the river. That afternoon, as a little girl splashed up to her waist in the waters, everything seemed quite normal. Then she suddenly felt a tugging at the little finger of her left hand. Instinctively, she pulled away, but the tugging grew more powerful. And then came a searing pain that caused her to cry out. She looked down at her finger, but all she could see was a trail of blood leaking into the dark water. As she ran for the shore, her screams startled the sunbathers. So, we're blaming that on piranha? According to the piece I read, it might have happened. Again, mistaken for a fin, her fingertip mistaken for a fin of a fish. They are not, piranha do not generally attack human beings. And that's all I can tell you. And what happens is when there is news of such an attack, I'm sure you're going to say, oh, that couldn't be possible. It's overhyped, right, by media, who just love this kind of stuff because it dovetails with all, these sort of visceral fears that humans have, and because of the mythology of the piranha. So let me see if I can report to you on what happened at City Council. Don't you think I could? Don't you think Chris Potter is busily tweeting? I would think. But we will get a new mayor in about an hour, guys, and I would imagine that Pittsburghers are just about ready, to say the least. Okay, here, let me get you a little local news, if I can. Where's Potter? He's not tweeting? Krause. Okay. Your 2000 Pittsburgh City Council. I don't understand this. Krause and Harris. I'm sure it's Krause. Is your new city council prez. Well, don't be... I mean, I shouldn't say I'm sure since I have not gotten any specific information to that effect. Well, Potter has fallen down on... Here it is. Chris Potter, Rudiak, dysfunction in D.C. We have turned... Well, that's not... I don't care about Rudiak at the moment. Breaking news. The Supreme Court stays marriage equality in Utah. You are kidding. All right, so it's a little bit of a step back. By the way, the North Korean hungry dog execution of is not expected to be, is not true. It is, they believe. So, okay. Have no idea. Well, this was a faltering stop and start kind of a show, but we'll do better tomorrow, I promise. And I think that is it. So tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, creep in this petty pace from day to day. Sorry. Okay, tomorrow, stay warm.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.